There's our sound on, and here we are. Okay, so thank you for joining us. We'll probably give a little bit of time to see if people rock up. Normally we start a little bit slow just because it's a live stream and some people might take time to rock up. This is the last of this year's VR Studios, so it's exciting, a little bit, I suppose it's a little bit sad that there's not more projects to come on, but I think we've done quite well this year. 9 different artists.
It's pretty incredible.
I'm going to sleep after this, so that's good. Just while we're seeing if people will join us, I'm just going to go through my my housekeeping. So I'd like to start off by paying my respects to elders past and present of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, whose land we are working on at the moment, and also to point out that it was never ceded. I'd also like to already welcomed everyone for tuning in. Thank you for sticking with us. As usual, it's a live stream. Even though we've been doing this for a while, there's always going to be technical issues that might pop up. So for example, if there's something with the sound doesn't seem to be working properly or something with the video, just pop a comment in, just type something in the comments and we'll see it. We've got it there, and we can respond to it. At the same time as well, if you have any questions or something pops into your head, use the comment section, just write something in there. We might not necessarily see it and respond to it immediately, but we'll get to it in the end, and we can go through sort of towards the end. If there's any questions, we can go through, and it will be good fun to have a bit of a back and forward with that. Yes, so it's a fairly informal format. We will just talk about what we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, demonstrate sort of the bits and pieces that we've got, and then we will open it up for discussion. Or if there's no discussion, we'll probably just sit here and talk to ourselves about what we've done.
Sounds good to me.
So that works out. I'd like to thank Australia Council for the Arts for funding, and also Create New South Wales that has made this possible. And let's see, what else? We're nearly at the end of the housekeeping. We have an archive of all the videos that we've done, so the other 8 artists that we've worked on. It's available through the Facebook group, Tactical Space Lab, and it's available through our website as well, which is tacticalspace.org. Yes, so without further ado, I'd like to welcome Cigdem Aydemir, and let's get started, I suppose. I generally... We should talk about your practice, but I suck at doing a good job of introducing people's practice.
It's okay, I suck at describing my practice.
Would you like to, what we can do is jump to your website and do a call out for your website. So
sure.
That was me searching for your Instagram. Okay, so I will stick it here, and what we can do is just turn on... If we turn off that, then there's your website. So, okay, do you want to talk through your practice in general? Just give a general idea of it? Or should we let it speak for itself?
That would be more convenient, but I guess, yeah, that image that you're seeing is from my most recent show at Finkelstein Gallery in Melbourne. It's called Veils on Veils. It includes some photographs, which is what you're seeing, and also a few performance works. And just to also give a plug, in November, I'll be presenting a new video work that I've made for UTS, and it'll be screening on their big billboard outside their building. And it's, well, I won't spoil it.
I've seen it, and it's really great. So, yeah, look out for it.
Look out for it.
It'll be really good.
Yeah.
Cool. Sweet. All right, so we've done a few things for this studio. A couple of interesting experiments. Some of them have been kind of riffing on what comes out of the veil work, I suppose, like looking at fabric and...
Yeah, fabric has been my interest. I mean, I usually make works that have something to do with fabric and the movement of fabric, or the way it stretches, the way it conceals and reveals. But that also, just to give a bit of a background to my interest in that, my mother's a tailor.
Oh, right.
And I studied fashion design at uni, and I wore a veil, which is the most important thing for a large part of my life. I started wearing it when I was 10 and took it off when I was 20. So wearing the veil, and that has been a big part of my life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, yeah, just fabric and dealing with fabric and dealing with the implications of fabric, or wearing fabric on your head in society, has been an interest of mine for a long time.
Yeah, because you kind of have any preconceptions that it's a neutral thing.
Yes.
Around any, from the fashion design sort of thing, everything is sort of loaded with something, and then the veil itself and how it fits in different.
Oh, it's absolutely
contexts.
loaded. Yeah. Absolutely loaded with meaning, and something I've been exploring for the past 11 years.
I think I remember a performance that you did in Carriage Works, which was you at the top of an absolutely, like, a 3 or 4 story high veil.
Yeah.
That you could walk through.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
So I basically encapsulated a part of a building with fabric. That was my veil. And I sat on the edge of that structure and kind of made that building structure part of my body, and stared at people down below. And I made a little tunnel, and they could walk through the tunnel. And as they walked, actually, it was really interesting, because this like bubble of air followed them. So it's like you could walk through this tunnel, and then there'd be this bubble of air that was following you as you walked.
Yeah, right.
It's pretty cool.
So, talking of moving fabric, I suppose, on the back of that, which was some element of what we were interested in having. Like all the other studios, we sort of started off by looking at different things that were existing in the landscape of VR at the moment. So a few VR experiences that were more sort of gamely, some that are more sort of filmic. I think we some art practice that used that sort of digital language as well. We looked at a little bit, and I suppose what we can do is, should we jump into those videos? So there's some.
Yeah, sure.
So we have, we've been sort of deviating a little bit from the purely VR side of presentation for these studios for a while. Partially, I suppose, because it's still working in VR, but not necessarily sort of with the focus that the outcomes will be something that will exist only in the context of a headset experience that can only be used by a handful of people. So even within that kind of vocabulary of what you can do, or what, let's say, the allowances of VR, the sort of insight that it can give you, the sort of experience that you can get from it, doesn't necessarily have to be presented in the VR to give a good result. Some of the things that we've done, I think, would be best presented in the headset, but it's like kind of nicer to not lock yourself into having a work that necessarily needs to exist in VR. So we have a few videos. I'm going to put it into a playlist, and we can run through them. I'm going to try and put it into a playlist, and we can run through them. Okay, these ones. Actually, I'm just going to run them. I'm going to run them through. This is the point where I said that there's technical process. I think they are here. Okay. So, we're faced with, which one do you think is the best one to show first?
I think maybe start from the beginning. Maybe like with the
early tests.
Oh, what was that one?
So this, okay. So I'll stick it on this screen. I'll just turn the background off.
Ah, yes, the skeleton.
So this was testing. We were doing some work with a fabric simulation system that I have used before, but it's really, for one thing, doing this fabric simulation is just really calming. Watching the fabric sort of flow and move is something quite unusual for a computer, because computers generally suck at that sort of natural flowing type thing. So it's actually really intensive. It's like the computer makes all this noise and it heats up and it grumbles and all that sort of stuff. and it takes ages as well to do the simulation, but the results are really beautiful, and you see the sort of fabric falling in a particular way, and you can pick it up and move it and grab it. So this looks like you're doing the box stamps for a moment there. So what we have here is
just being silly, really.
We are motion capturing with the Quest headset. So we've got the position of the head and the position of the hands, and we're using that to do basically a very sort of quick and cheap and cheerful motion capture. And then we fed this motion capture into the fabric simulation. So what we had was a bit of fabric that was responding to the motion that Cigdem was doing, and just as an interesting test of sort of where we could go. I'm going to try and get these to loop, I think, because it's kind of annoying that. See if I can figure out. Repeat. Yeah, kind of exciting to say that you can sort of drive the fabric motion just with some naturalistic sort of stuff, and kind of also nice that the fabric with the avatar turned off, the fabric is sort of implying the body a lot more.
Absolutely.
It's kind of fun. All right, now other early tests. Should we go to? Should we look at the sequence that we were doing?
Yep.
Do you remember the conversation that this came out of? So I'm going to put it on our sort of initial render out. Oh, it's playing it as VR. That's funny. It's playing it not as a. It's not.
Not as a video.
Yeah. That works.
Okay.
So amongst some of the stuff that we have here is a stereo camera, so it can take 180 shots, so you can sort of see everything in front of you basically, and you can look up and down, and everything sort of beyond this position you can there's the it looks like you're laughing at him there in that other thing.
Poor man.
So what we wanted to experiment with, would you like to talk about the artwork? I feel like I'm doing all the talking.
Sure. Okay. Yep.
The one that sort of is an inspiration, as a possible inspiration.
Yeah, we were having a discussion about one of my favorite artists, Guillermo Gomez Peña. And he created this work, the something Amerindians.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
I'll get it here. We don't have to show it, but we'll get our crib notes for our research.
So he and Coco Fusco, invented this identity of the Amerindians and dressed up in these fantastical kind of costumes and put themselves into a cage. And that cage was placed in front of a major gallery, and audiences were invited to watch them as they would, an animal in a zoo. And, there is historical precedence for this because, as we all know, human beings like Africans were presented in this way. They were toured all through England and France and Ireland, and exhibited like zoo animals. And so
fairly recently.
Yeah. And so we were just thinking about, the gaze and what it would be like to swap the gaze so that the audience member that was wearing the headset would see what it would feel like to be in the cage rather than being outside of the cage looking in.
Especially with the technology, because there's a thing that comes with, the fact that it's Mark Zuckerberg talking about VR as this particular enabling technology for viewing the world, sort of that like e-tourism, but exotic e-tourism, where it's kind of almost an anthropological gaze of the exotic that you get to see. So you're there as a kind of untouchable observer to all of these peoples of the world.
Yes.
You know,
and you don't have to run the risk of being in those places.
Just, it's like voyeuristic sort of experience of it. And this was also kind of a nice test of an approach to doing things, because you know, so it's the Evo camera that we have has two lenses and is basically like two separate cameras, and you can sort of unlock one part of it and fold it back and have it hang on. So you can take the two sides of the camera and fold it back so that it's actually shooting a sort of flat in one direction and a flat in another direction that will form a 360 view. So basically you're inside of a sphere, but then you don't have any depth information. But if you take that camera and like fold it out, then you can get the stereo information, so you can get a sense of depth, but it's only in one direction. So the tests that we were doing was kind of, especially in this space, is kind of nice because it sort of naturally is divided up into 8 little sections. Was what happens if you take your 180 camera and shoot in 8 different directions and then composite it into a 360, and it worked.
Yes, it turned out really well, actually. I mean, I was surprised when I was wearing the headset how real the figures felt. And in one of them I'm actually pointing at the person and that actually made me jump. I couldn't believe how real it felt.
Yeah, it was a nice it was a nice sort of win, I guess, for doing a quick test.
Yes.
And getting a nice result from it.
Yeah.
And also, so we had this one, and the idea, I did a little bit of sort of finagling to build in response. So rather than just being sort of the center, the sort of object of the observation, we also thought it would be interesting to have it so that when you looked around, the people looking at you would respond in some way to the fact that you're sort of now making eye contact. So some of the things that we've got is sort of laughing and waving and things like that. And this test, you got that general sense that there were people sort of, that you were the center of, that you're a spectacle, basically. I suppose that you're at the center of it, but it wasn't quite an immediate sense that as you looked around to see the other people, they would respond to your eye contact.
Yes.
So we did do, should I show the other one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where is it? This one. Okay. So we did do a test where we were paying a little bit more attention to, it's not a video that I can move around. This is just our in-head sort of documentation of it. But this is trying to get video footage where there was a very straightforward transition from just a sort of idle in the sort of game design terminology. Idle is the animation that a character is doing when they're not doing anything else. So it's kind of a passive animation. So we have kind of like an idle, sort of a passive pose, and then when you make eye contact, you scratch your nose.
Oh, do I? I didn't realize I was doing that.
There's a little bit of a transition, so that as you look around, you get a sense that the figures are responding to your actions within the space.
Yeah, which is what happens actually when you're performing. You know, you're doing your thing and people are just, you know, on their, I don't know, just passively watching, and then suddenly you look at them and it's they either laugh or they try to capture that photo, that instant where you're looking at them, or you know, there's a little bit of a change in their stance or something like that. It's interesting.
I do like how powerful the idea of the gaze can be, especially from that position, because it's like, that's the difference. I suppose from that sort of voyeuristic thing is you don't have to worry about the eye contact back necessarily, because you know, like the documentary style is like you're just
fly
watching
on the wall. Yes.
and then when you can see the person looking back at you, there's something else that comes from that.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, what else? Ooh, this one.
Sure.
Cool. Would you like to talk through this experimentation?
Well, maybe we should just experience it.
Okay.
Woo!
Cool. So it's not totally obvious from the video, but this is going around the observer.
Yes.
In this one.
So the person wearing the headset sees this figure emerging from the horizon, and then they have to turn around because the bull is kind of
circling them,
bucking and circling around them. Yeah.
Which is quite fun. It's quite nice to do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could say that this one is the most specifically sort of suited to or takes advantage of or uses that sort of VR sense of presence.
Yes. Yes, obviously, because it's going to be very difficult to get a live bull and to ride on it like that. But there is something really, the immediacy of having this 3D bull in front of you is really intense.
I do, yeah.
And exciting, actually.
So this is a bit more, as you can see, a bit more of the fabric simulation stuff. A fairly quick process of taking ready-made. So the bull and the bull bucking is an animation that comes with the bull model itself. So we didn't really have to do too much to do that test. Although I did sort of set it up so that we'd have control if we wanted to introduce a little bit more sort of variation into what it was doing. And then the character on top is sort of set up to try and balance. It's got what's called a inverse kinematic system in it, which means it's got a skeleton where it's trying to fit into a pose, into a particular pose. So it's trying to stay upright basically on the horse, is what you can say. Yeah, that one was good fun. I really like it.
And standing up very skillfully. I mean, normally the person would be thrown off.
Yeah, a champion bull rider.
Yes.
In this one. Yeah, I do like it. And sort of a continuation, we did this video show that one. It's just very quick, but sort of it's the same process as the animation that was necessary for the bull, where we pulled out the motion of the bull and the rider, put the fabric over the top, and you just sort of run the simulation and it figures out where everything would go, given that, you know, the pose is here and that this thing has moved in this way and this thing has moved in this way. But you know, there was an opportunity to just spend a little bit more time doing a study of the motion of the fabric and, you know, like crank up the level of detail on it and just run it for, I think this was like 3 hours. This is a wild world of computer simulation. Everything, it's like 5 seconds of video for a heap of, but it's worth it. Look how cool it looks.
It is. And look, the beauty of it is that you can just get this fabric and pin it to any part of the body and it'll just stay there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't do that with a human.
I really like the I really like that. You know, as a fashion designer, it would be great as well, because you're like, I don't need to worry about models. I've got one model that walks down the thing. I just stick
it does
all my
whatever
stuff to
I want it to do. Even rides bulls.
Yeah, job done. And from there, so what else do we have? I think we've looked pretty much at and then the other one, the motion capture thing.
Yes.
So should we talk about this in context of like sort of about maybe approaching a sublime in or at least a particular digital aesthetic, or not, because you don't think it gets there? It's trying to.
Yeah,
It's
it
getting
is.
close
I
to
mean,
it.
so I think the inspiration was another artist's work that looked at a ceramic object.
Very meditatively traversed through the interior of a digital object that didn't really read as digital. It read as sort of a grand monumental landscape, really,
Yeah.
with like amazing cinematographic lighting, and then a really nice like narrative, spoken narrative that goes over the top of it, and the promise of digital that doesn't just speak to a world of, because computer games kind of, they don't evoke materiality or this sort of tangible sense quite in the same sort of way. So what we were doing here is we've got like I promised to Cigdem that we could reproduce a nice material feel of the fabric with the right by grabbing the right materials and putting them on the subject. So we're doing a simulation the same way. We've just got a bit of wind blowing on it, and then a few sort of nice materials, and then the motion. This is just a little segment of the motion that we've got, but it kind of is cool. It is kind of cool.
So to get that motion, I had to actually wear the headset and move the way I wanted the camera to move in looking at this object. So, hypothetically, I could choose to move or look at whichever parts I wanted to look at. But it was interesting being able to do that, being able to track the movement in that way, and being able to track the gaze in that way, and where I was looking and how much time I was spending at each point.
I mean, it's funny because like it's not an obvious point, but as you're moving towards it, the thing that I really like is looking like that area there, the sort of like top left of the background, just watching how it responds to your obvious footfall, like the thing is really nice, because it's like often when you're doing stuff with motion capture, so I'm going to jump to this one again for a second, even though the amount of data that you've got is very limited, it can be really expressive. I mean, this one is like expressive of you mucking around. But it's it can capture a lot. It's really interesting as this sort of like very, very minimal index into, like I'm the sort of person that before the lockdown I'd sit at a cafe and just watch people walk by it and like really enjoy sort of reading the personality of someone based on the way their pose and their gait and everything.
Yes.
So it's I kind of like how you can get some of that with something very basic and fully within that sort of digital language. You can somehow bring some of the human back into it.
But tell me, does this make it a little bit dizzying for the audience member when they're wearing the headset?
Well, if you were, for this one, watching someone else's motion would be terrible.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It would be nauseating as anything.
Okay.
But as a still image, it tends all of the Pixar sort of movies and things like that are digitally animated, they put in heaps of effort to pretend that there's physicality to their cameras.
Right.
So like you'll have a camera and then something will go by fast and it will sort of shake as if the wind's moved it and all that sort of stuff. So like that sort of approach. I suppose one reason why we went through this as well was because even though that other artists' work, should I grab the thing? Do you want to name drop it?
Claudia Martinez-Garay.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I Will Outlive You. What a great title.
It is so good. So even though like it's absolutely beautiful and there's just, the lighting of it, the lighting and the shadows, and there's like things where the light is diffused through fog and it's just so beautiful, along with the story, the form of the story as well, is just really powerful. But there were moments, a sort of giveaway. I watched it for half an hour. I think I might have watched it like more than one repetition through.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time, given that I work in digital, it took me a long time to be certain that it was digital, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty convincing.
Yeah. But one thing that kind of gave the game away was an element of the motion of the camera where it was a little bit mechanical. It was a little bit too sort of constant in the motion.
Yeah.
And this is kind of nice because, like, we shot this in, it was like 6 to 10 past 6 or something.
Yeah.
We had to leave in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we just put the headset on and it's like, get it out there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take very long to get that natural motion of it.
Yeah. And what I also liked was that, I mean, you can't see it over here, but when you're wearing the headset, you can actually go so close that you're inside the garment.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see the interiority of this fabric moving, and that was really interesting as well.
Breaking the matrix. Yeah, I mean, this is the world of VR. There's not many people. It's only artists who really take advantage and question the ways that things break, rather than trying to push it under the carpet and go like, oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah.
You know? And there are super interesting ways that things can break, and the implications of it breaking as well. It's like, well, what are you getting when you go inside it, when everything disappears? Fuel beans. Well, that's us.
Yay.
Let's what did you notice? We got some questions. We've got a comment. Let me just refresh this thing and see what comes up. Was this done with Unity? If so, what package do you use for cloth? Okay. Technical question. I appreciate the technical question. So this that's showing on at the moment was done with a couple of different bits and pieces. As usual, I'm a little bit of a sort of platform butterfly, I suppose. Just move between different things that I know I can do one task in and another. So the video stuff that we were doing, where we had the 360 video, and as you looked in one direction, it would respond. I'll show that video now. This one here, you can see the border is Unity, and so it's all code. It's using a like Oculus integration library, and it's all pretty straightforward. Basically, it's all, this is done in Unity. Our motion capture, so grabbing the data for this, we just stuck the headset on, and in recent versions of Unity, there's a nice recording package that you can record animation as your experience plays, and export it as an FBX, which is great because you can throw it to whatever you need. So we did the bull motion with that, and we did this with that. This fabric simulation stuff, which I love, which is really great. I am going to load up the thing and we can show it off. Hey?
Sure. Sounds good.
It's a bit of software called Marvelous Designer, and it's marvelous. So all of this simulation of this fabric here is done using Marvelous Designer, and then because you just export it as a huge big animation. It's massive, but it's worth it. Oh, we didn't show the Unity Ghost one. Was that this one? Was there another one? Was this in Unity? Was that the one where we're in VR and we're seeing it moving?
Can't remember.
Because another early test that we did was this motion capture, but then we brought it back into Unity and looked at it with the headset, if you remember. So you're sort of like, that physical presence is there amongst you. And then our render of this one was done in Houdini, which is great. It's really nice. Probably needless for this because we didn't really use Houdini for anything special. was just as a nice place to render the final images. But Houdini is quite nice. We could have rendered this in whatever. But thanks for your question. Cool. I'm going to look at what we have to talk about. So, what did we do?
Yep.
We've kind of talked about that.
Yep.
I think I've been doing a lot of talking.
You are, but you're a good talker.
I don't know when to shut up. That's the problem.
You're doing a fantastic job.
I tell you what, if you direct me, if you talk, I will demonstrate to what you're talking to if you would like.
Oh no, I can't. I mean, okay. Oh well, with Marvelous Designer.
Uh-huh.
Is that what you're talking about?
With anything, but yeah, if we can do
okay,
the
well, let's
Designer.
just give a quick demo. Have we got time?
Well, yeah, we've got like 20 minutes. We've got no question.
Okay.
To why it's both a really useful tool and also deeply meditative, enjoyable experience.
Yes, it's really fun.
So let me see if I can find the cube that I think that's it. It's just a cube, just an object. So you start off with what's called what they call an avatar, which is if you're using it for clothing modeling, then it's basically a mannequin. And I think, yeah. So for the sake of, you can use any object as your mannequin, and for this, I was just draping the fabric over a cube. What should we do?
Yeah, and you create fabric, and we just created, what was it, just like a square piece of fabric, or
yeah, I think so. Oh, it could have been an
ellipse. Yeah.
So there's our fabric. If
Yes.
you're used to making your own clothes or designing your own clothes, then what this is in the right hand side is like your pattern. And people who do come from a clothing design background will often, or actually people who are making games, like clothing for games or whatever, will often just take an actual pattern and like scan it and stick it on here and then build the bits from the pattern, which is kind of fun.
It's pretty incredible. You can actually, sew digitally, you can pin digitally, you can pin fabric to objects. So much you can do with it.
So should I tell you what? Maybe what we can do. So I'll allow this to fall.
Let it fall. Shall we let it fall?
So I just turned on the simulation, and this is it doing its little simulation of how it's falling, which is really nice. And then while the simulation's going, you can grab the fabric and sort of shift it around a bit. And that just in itself is a really fun thing to do. That would keep me happy. And then, so what we could do is
you
we
can
could
look under the skirt. Come on, Josh.
So we can attach this. We've not looked at pressure before, but I'm going to pin that to there and that to there. That one to that. Let's see. Okay. And then I'm going to turn on the pressure and maybe we can make it do something interesting. So you can, there's tools for turning on the wind and doing wind simulation and things like that, but what I kind of want to do for a moment, hopefully it will not go totally weird, is adjust the pressure, which makes it sort of blow up in a particular way, which is kind of fun. There it is. Oop, oop, a little bit too much.
Wow.
Oop. Okay. Let's go back to
awesome.
where it was. So you can do pillows and things like that with it, but let's just a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know it does.
Whoop. Yeah, so some quite fun things. And yeah, as I say, it's like it's very different from the way that you would normally work digitally. Generally, computers really suck at doing like fabric simulation. They're really good at doing like rigid objects, but yeah, so that's quite fun. Cool. What else have we got?
What else have we got?
So, in terms of our questions and what we've covered, why do we do these things in digital?
Why digital and not in person?
Yep, we're in with physical things. Why VR for stuff? This is a question I'm putting to you. And
well, it's interesting
quietly.
because I was recently reflecting on why I use video and photography, and I think what it is that there's an immediacy to video. You can be a bit of a fly on the wall and observe things playing out without being part of it. You know, sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable to test kind of experiments in social spaces, and for me it's interesting to play with those dynamics, but I imagine it's for an audience member, it's interesting for them to almost act like they're part of that without actually being part of it, you know?
So when an audience member is watching a video where there's something which might be quite confrontational, you're saying?
Yeah.
Because there's the thing of like, you know, like watching a this is, I don't know how widespread this experience is, but when you're watching a movie with your family and then like an uncomfortable scene comes on and everyone goes all quiet, and it's like as someone standing in a public space where they can be seen watching something as well, that can be kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of
yeah, no, that's absolutely right, because you know often people don't want to stare, and you know it's rude to stare, but with video they can stare as much as they want, you know, and they can laugh as well. Like that's a really interesting kind of reaction I get to my work. People are like, I did feel like laughing, is that okay? And you know, is that all right? And yeah, totally. It's about laughing. It's about, well, not all the time, but I mean, often it is about loosening those discourses that are so tied to our identities, right? I mean, and so fixed as well, you know, you as a Muslim woman are this, you as such and such a person are this. And so when you start to, you know, fray the edges of those identities, it becomes, well, you know, the idea that they're fixed in the first place, it becomes humorous, you know, when you can step back and look at it in that way.
Can I show, what's it called? Ride With Me? Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
I like
Sure.
that one. Do you have it on here?
Yes. Well, photograph, yeah.
Selected works?
Yes. And there it is.
Yeah, this one was the last video work that I saw just before everything locked down, I think, or at least I locked down. So I saw it at that show in Art Space.
Yes, Just Not Australian, which is touring at the moment.
Oh, right.
Yep, all around Australia, so go and see it if you're in Australia. Which is a very big space. Actually, if you go to the news section, there's a whole... there's the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's all the places where it's showing at the moment. It's a really cool show with some really awesome artists that, you know, are like, oh, like my favorite artists. I can't believe I'm part of it. Yeah, so should I talk about the ride?
What the general works that you've got? I mean, when you were because that was the last one that I saw. When you were talking about people watching in that sort of mode, and the
no one was watching that one because it was a one-on-one performance.
Oh, but the documentation that you showed. So you wouldn't say that, that's an interesting thing. Okay, so maybe this is another question of the video work and the performance, because you have a performance practice where VR would sit between the idea of a sort of mediated documentation of a work.
Yep.
And whether would you consider VR able to be something that would be performative?
Absolutely. I mean, it was really interesting watching that documentary, Black Writing While Black on YouTube.
Yeah, that was
incredible. I really love that. You know, you could actually sit in a cafeteria and it felt like, you know, you were hearing this man's experience, and it felt so real. It felt like you could just lean over the table and not like slap him. No, that's not what I meant. No, you could just, you know, you felt like you were sitting at the table with this man who was just sitting right there, and it just felt so immediate. And what was even more beautiful about that was, while this person was speaking about their experience of traveling while black in America, you're sitting in a cafeteria, and this side is all mirror in this cafeteria, and the person's sitting there, and then when you turned your head, you can actually see the window of a train, and you see your reflection as a black person in the mirror. Well, it's not a mirror, it's more like a window with a bit of a reflection. And so there was that real visceral experience of writing while black and then listening to this person's experience, which was really powerful. So I'd really like to explore that dimension, that whole visceral feeling of being there, you know, being able to lean over and touch things. Like,
I mean, the video thing with you poked yourself, and like when you reach in, because of that, the way that camera works, it feels like someone's poking you in the stomach. Which is one part of it. But like it's hard not to be affected by the sense of presence of having someone standing right in front of you for our tests anyway. That's something that comes along with it. I'm a little bit hesitant of the idea. Oh, that's the wrong one. A little bit hesitant of the idea that by necessity of, like, all you need to do is place someone in the perspective, in the POV of someone else.
I know. It's a very preliminary, kind of very basic experiment, and I totally understand what you mean, and I actually get a little bit irritated by works like that, you know. But
it was good storytelling as well. So it's like if you can tell a story that well, it's not as if magically you connect to it with cheaply.
No. I mean, everything, you have to think about everything with script sometimes, or dialogue, and which parts of it you include.
So are you getting distracted by your belligerent selves?
This is me being silly and trying to...
A gang of Cigdem clones are about to beat you up for being in the wrong hood.
Who are you? What's this thing?
Cool. We should go back to see if there's anyone with any comments. We're let's say, can we self question? We might finish up a little bit early, but given that we would normally finish at about 9, if anyone else has any questions or any comments that we can respond to. Remember, this is the last live stream that we've got, so this will be sort of set down, part of the archive, going into basically written in stone. Let's see. Yeah, it would be great to have something to respond to, but otherwise we can just I can do that. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully the video went green for a second there. That I was a little bit worried back. Yeah, otherwise, let's say, do you have anything else that you want to chat about? I'm really bad at on the spot questions.
Yeah, me too.
Where would you go if is there anything with what we've done or anything that we haven't done but has occurred to you about possible uses of VR that would make you want to sort of further pursue it?
Well, it's a little bit tricky, isn't it, because of COVID? I mean, you think the attractiveness of each audience member getting this headset and putting it on and it having to be cleaned after every person's used it would be, a deterrent.
And it probably should be, really.
Yeah.
Because it's like something that comes into physical contact with your face.
Yes.
Is like...
I mean, that's the That's a center, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, oh, and then put the earbuds up your nose. That's part of the experience. I mean, that's a good opportunity to talk about the cardboard that we looked at a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So,
do you want to get it?
Yeah, I think it might be. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, sweet. So, thinking through, you know, not just COVID era, but sort of like a more straightforward, less inaccessible way of working with VR would be not necessarily, you know, the task of trying to make experiences that only work for some high-end bit of consumer electronics, and with a gallery context in mind, even in a world where there's no problems with hygiene or anything, you're still sort of having you're getting very, very close to having something that's very easy to share. And then at the last minute, sort of deviating off to, okay, well, it's convenient, or it can be slightly more comfortable, or, you know, a little bit less effort to put it in the Quest than anything else. Whereas, like, there's a fair amount of opportunity to make VR experiences that will work for the cardboard, or whatever, the whole sort of ecosystem of different things that people have got. So, you know, does it work for your mobile phone? You saw just then that even accidentally trying to open those VR videos, you can accommodate that sort of VR view. I'll do it again. Isn't it? Yes. You can accommodate that view so that you can share something where if someone doesn't have a VR headset, then they can look at it sort of with a sort of simulation of what it would be like. Or if you're looking at it on your phone, you can physically look around, and it will be like you're sort of viewing that scene around you. Or if you do it in a cardboard, which is about $1 worth of cardboard and plastic lenses.
Do you want to demonstrate?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so it's like a cardboard headset that I think you can get for $1 if you got it from China.
Yeah.
And so you load up your experience onto your phone and open it up. Place your phone into the cardboard and then actually see the VR experience from this cardboard. So it makes it look like you're actually looking at this whole 3D environment.
Which is good going for $1 worth of thing. I mean, the assumption that you've got a mobile phone is not totally ubiquitous. It's not. You still have to be cautious about that assumption, but it's far, far more accessible than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's pretty handy. Yeah.
I would love for that to be something that came out of the lockdown and the sort of awareness of hygiene, is that things become VR experiences don't just aim at the sort of top tier. They were more sort of distributed to giving everyone hands on.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we're getting there. I think that's about it. I think we've done our job.
We have. We've done a good job. This is your last one.
It is. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Cigdem, for joining me for it.
It's been a pleasure.
I don't think I could have asked for a better last experience. I really liked
thank you.
What we did. It was good fun.
It was really good fun.
And okay, so housekeeping stuff at the end. All of these are going to be online archives, so you get to watch them in the future. And if you like what we've done, then I'm sure we'll do some more of the same. There's a few bits and pieces of VR and digital art projects that I'll be working on, so those will be on Technical Space Lab. Other than that, thanks again for watching, and yeah, good night.
Good night.